Alright. May as well get this over with so that way I can die happy knowing I got through this diabetic shock.
Yeah. So, they've encountered
Let's
Trixie.
not
I mean,
waste any time. Let us dive back into uh Trixie's Little Problem by Yukito. God help me.
alright, let's go.
Trixie put a hoof to her chin. Trixie thought that ponies only became teachers to pay the bills or to satisfy their superiority complex. Cheerily flinched a little at the way the small filly was talking, but reminded herself that Trixie was still mentally an adult. Somewhat. Well, I don't know how it works in Canterlot, Cheerily began, gaining Trixie's attention. But here, teachers are chosen based on not just their academic abilities, but also their love for children and desire to nurture them into bright, happy ponies.
I wish wish I could say the same for my high school teachers.
You and me both.
Anyways, sorry about that.
Trixie stared at the teacher with a look of wonder. She looked to the ground for a few moments, collecting her thoughts. Collecting her thoughts. Through her experience, teachers only cared about foals getting good grades and convincing the less intelligent foals to drop out to make the school look better. I know that story all too many times.
Mm-hmm.
She had to spend a lot of time of her time, typo, after school studying in order to meet the standards that her teachers had set for her. She wondered how things would have turned out if she were raised in a place like Ponyville. Would she have made more friends? Would her grades have suffered, or would her grades have been better because the teachers actually cared for her?
That would make a good point. I mean, we're all in this together pretty much.
Hmm,
Just give enough love for a kid, he might actually return the favor and be good. Instead of,
true.
oh, shall we say, juvenile delinquents.
Or just, having a repeat of Magic Duel.
Ugh, I knew. Anyways, let's continue on.
She wondered, excuse me, she was snapped out of her thoughts when Shirley had to say goodbye to the two fillies. Again, I remind all of you, Twilight is a filly as well.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Twilight and Trixie, fillies, but still mentally adult.
They both waved goodbye to her, and Trixie watched as she left, the teacher's kind, gentle voice still echoing in her mind. Now, as I was trying to say, Twilight began, she went off talking about the town's history before any pony could interrupt her, and didn't notice that Trixie had gotten up and wandered off on her own. And so by convincing all of the townsfolk to work together, Trixie? Ah, jeez.
And there Trixie goes. Wonder how they're gonna encounter. Let's just go.
Trixie walked through the streets of Ponyville with a lot less energy than she had earlier. She kept her head low, frowning at the ground as she walked through the town. Ever since her talk with Shirley, she kept thinking about how every pony in Ponyville seemed so friendly, and for some reason it made her uneasy. She sat down on a bench just in front of the town hall and sighed deeply. She didn't understand why thinking about Twilight's friends made her feel so depressed. It just did.
Envious, maybe? Like a unconscious envy? Because, well, let's face it, Trixie never had much friends.
Hmm.
And Twilight's being a successful pony. Student of Celestia, great friends. Hell, right now, and even though the story doesn't really indicate it, because it's happened long before the Twilight Corn, she's now a princess.
Yeah. Let's see here. A voice next to Trixie said, "Wow, sounds like you've got some worries running through your mind." Hmm?
Hmm, who is this?
She turned her head to see a white unicorn with blue hair and purple shades covering her eyes, looking down at her. "Oh, thank you, Vinyl Scratch. Please, save me from this diabetes."
Easy does it now. Easy does it. Let's just continue on.
Mariette, maybe I'll just keep my Build-A-Bear Pinkie Pie plushie close to me. Maybe that'll dull the pain. Don't ask. My girlfriend gave that to me.
I know you already told me about how you already got like a Build-A-Bear workshop shit. I'm already envious because the nearest Build-A-Bear workshop's in another goddamn town, like 50 minutes from here.
I wouldn't even think about setting foot in one anyway. It'd just be too goddamn awkward.
Anyways.
Anyways. Who are you? Trixie asked. Name's Vinyl Scratch, resident DJ of Ponyville, she said proudly, pointing down at her musical no cutie mark. How about you? Twixie Moon, the Gwen and Paolo Twixie and your oh!
Suck it in! Suck it in! Suck it in! You can do this!
I'm trying to do, you son of a
You
bitch.
can do this! You can do this! Just breathe, friend. Breathe!
Trixie? Whoa! So the rumors are true, she said, looking down incredulously at the blue filly. So what's on your mind? Trixie remained silent at first, not wanting to share her problems with Vinyl Scratch. However, her filly mind started to kick in, and she was soon unable to hold it in any longer. Twixie realized today that her life may not have been to her liking.
I think she finally accepts.
Is she having an epiphany?
I
think she is.
I don't even know. I can't even do a kid's voice, but yeah. She's got quite an inspirational epiphany. Let's see how this is gonna go.
Vinyl grinned and nodded, letting out a sigh that suggested she knew exactly where Trixie was coming from. Yeah, I've been there, she said. Trixie looked up at Vinyl with curious eyes. I think every pony feels like that sometimes. Well, maybe not every pony, but it's not uncommon, that's for sure. Trixie had never thought about it much before. She just convinced herself that her life was perfect, and she didn't need anything else. A tear rolled down Trixie's cheek. Oh, God, no.
Suck it in, motherfucker!
Don't tell me what to do.
I'm trying to be your inspiration here.
Yes, I know.
If we have I Am Shadow here, you probably won't be able to get this far. Come on.
Don't remind me. Anyways, she felt a gentle hoof against her head. But the truth is that Twixie was feeling incredibly lonely. She would travel from town to town on her own and swoop off any pony that got close to her. Why? Why did Twixie deny what she desired for so long? Maybe you were too proud? Vinyl suggested, stroking her hoof through Trixie's mane to calm her down. Or maybe you were afraid. You've been alone for so long that you probably lost faith in the whole idea of making friends. You didn't want to risk getting your hopes up just to have them crushed and end up lonelier than before. Why am I suddenly reminded of Little Sunset Shimmer here?
I don't know. Did this guy... I don't even know. When was this published?
Hang on, I have it bookmarked somehow. Let me see here. It was published, July 22nd, 2012.
Wait, what?
The story was posted July 22nd of last year.
And when did Equestria Girls come out in theaters?
June 16th, 2013.
Huh, you probably have saw the film and drawn a little inspiration from that. Maybe.
The story came out in 2012. The movie came out a year later.
Oh, fuck. Bleh. Excuse me. Bleh. Excuse me. Bleh.
It's alright.
So he might have had a little idea, and, I guess...
Hello?
Trying to think.
Oh. I thought my internet went out again, excuse me.
Okay, never mind. We'll just go along. I guess it's great minds ended up. I guess it's just a pure coincidence for some odd reason. Let's just go.
Yeah. Okay, where was I? 1 second here. Okay. Trixie sniffed and looked up at Vinyl Scratch. You sound as if you've experienced something similar. Holy picky pie!
Hold it tightly.
Vinyl laughed and turned her head to face the sky. Yeah, my first love. I had to make a difficult decision. Her or my music.
Her?
Trixie's...
Wait, did you say her?
I'm guessing she... Tabby Scratch supporters, now's your chance to speak up.
Baby, but let's see. Let's keep going. Let's see if it is Tabby.
I couldn't follow my dream in Canterlot, but at the same time, I couldn't see her again if I left to pursue my dream. It was unreasonable to ask her to wait for me. She'd definitely find some pony while I was away. It was a difficult decision, and it nearly drove me crazy. What did you do? Trixie asked. Maybe I made the wrong choice, Vinyl said, lifting her shades up to reveal her big violet eyes. I chose to pursue the dream that I had since foalhood. I spent so much time yelling at my choice, convinced I had made the wrong choice. But it was too late. I had already set my path, and there are no do-overs in life.
That's deep for someone who just parties and fills the nightclubs with wubs. Finally, you're impressing me.
So you just gave up? Nothing else I could do. My life is set. Better to just roll with things and face every day with a smile than spend every day regretting my decision. Vinyl lowered her shades and looked back at Trixie. Anyways, that's just what I think. I wouldn't exactly put too much stock into it. Ugh. So, Trixie should just feel content with her past and not let it affect her future. Pretty much, Vinyl said, shrugging. Well, in the end, it's your life, your decision. Vinyl rose to her hooves and began to walk up down the streets of Ponyville. She stopped for a moment to turn back to Trixie and shouted, "Cheer up, eh? Life can be cruel. Don't give her the pleasure of watching you squirm."
Inspirational. I like it.
Yes. Trixie watched Vinyl Scratch walk away and thought about her words. A smile managed to creep across her face, but was interrupted by, "Trixie!"
Shit. Who was that?
Trixie looked up to see Twilight glaring into her eyes, a look of annoyance on her face. Well, there she is.
Hi, Twilight. What you doing here?
Why did you wander off like that? I was trying to teach you some of Ponyville's grand history.
Blah, blah, blah. If I want history, I look it up on a Wikipedia.
Trixie looked at the young filly's pouting face and managed to complete the smile that she had started just moments ago. "That's 'cause it was bowing," she shouted, jumping off the bench and tapping Twilight on the nose. "Tag, yo it!" Oh!
Hug it tightly.
What do you think I'm doing? Trixie ran off, leaving a dumbfounded Twilight staring at her in confusion. Twilight soon snapped out of it and began chasing after Trixie. "That was a dirty trick, Trixie!" she shouted, chasing Trixie through an alleyway. She stopped when she saw Trixie standing still and staring up into the distance. Twilight walked up to the filly's side and looked into the same direction that Trixie was facing. In front of her was nothing at first, but then slowly but surely a big blue rectangular box appeared seemingly out of thin air.
God, can I go through one My Little Pony fanfic without a Doctor Who reference?
"What's that?" Trixie asked, startled by the sudden appearance of the strange box. Twilight shook her head, equally startled by the blue box's sudden appearance, and even more so when it began to open up. "Now, you two just wait and hit there," said a voice from inside the box. "I'll take a look outside and see where we are." A rather old, pale earth pony emerged from the box, wearing a black cape on his back and just barely covered his hourglass cutie mark. His mane and tail were as white as snow and held a cane in his right forehoof as he walked out of the box. He turned to the two fillies who were staring at him with curious looks on their faces. "Well, it seems we've landed in the right world, but..."
This isn't the Doctor Who's that we all reference. I wonder which one are we talking with?
As am I. The old stallion examined the scenery around him and moved over to a nearby box lying at the side of the alley. "Hey, Doctor!" shouted another voice from inside the box. The two fillies were startled once again as another two ponies emerged from the box, which seemed way too small to hold three ponies in. Obviously, they've never seen the TARDIS.
According to 1992's Bedia, we're dealing with maybe the first Doctor. Well, yeah, sorry, the first Doctor. Maybe one of the first few Doctors. Anyways, who else are with him?
They were both Pegasi. One was pink with blue hair, and two blue lightning bolts as their cutie mark. I feel like I should know who that is. Probably just some OC or something.
Wait, keep reading.
She reminded Twilight of Rainbow Dash, not just in terms of main style, but also the sure, confident expression that she wore on her face.
Everybody's yelling Firefly. And that's what I'm thinking, too.
Yeah. In fact, let me just look it up real quick.
Yeah, pretty much Rainbow Dash was based on the concept of Firefly.
MLP Firefly. Yeah. Pink pony, blue mane, style like Rainbow Dash, lightning bolt as cutie mark. Yeah, it's Firefly.
Yep. Okay, who's the other?
The other Pegasus was white with blonde hair and 4 red balloons as her cutie mark.
Hmm.
Oh, surprise!
Oh! Huh. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, so basically now we have the concept Rainbow Dash and Pinkie Pie in this.
Let's keep reading.
Interesting. Oh, hang on. As a matter of fact, can I confirm? Because I know Surprise is a white pony with... White pony, blonde hair. Okay, maybe it isn't Surprise. Surprise has 3 purple balloons as her cutie mark, and this one has 4 red balloons.
Maybe, maybe not. Let's go on and see what happens.
She was hopping up and down excitedly next to her pink companion. So, are we home? The pink Pegasus asked. Patience, my dear Firefly, is a virtue you would do well to have, the Earth Pony Doctor said. I told you to wait inside the ship. Anyway, we're on the right planet, but it seems we've landed in the wrong time.
Ugh.
Firefly rolled her eyes at the Doctor and leaned against her white friend. So what, a couple of years off? That's no biggie. No, more like a couple of millennia off, my dear, Doctor answered, causing Firefly to stare at him with wide eyes. At least according to this newspaper I found, he said, holding up said newspaper for the two Pegasi to see. Well, that won't do, the white Pegasus exclaimed. Now we're definitely late for Megan's surprise party.
Oh, we're dealing with Gen 1 here.
Firefly face hooved and turned to her friend. I think that's the least of our concern, Surprise. Okay, I was right, it was Surprise.
Oh, and we're dealing with Gen 1 too.
Surprise put a hoof to her chin, and then raised it into the air, somehow making a snapping noise with it that confused her 2 companions. And she still...
Hold on. Hold on, I think we're having a little bit, hold on. Yeah,
That happened.
Yeah, there we go.
Alright, where did I cut off?
Pretty much you were, we pretty much confirmed. G1 ponies.
I'm just happy that there's somebody that'll actually help me get through this fanfic.
At least.
The 2 where was I? Oh yeah, that's right! We can just use Doctor's machine to go back to before the party even started! She shouted, knocking her hoof against her head. Firefly sighed and then turned to the 2 fillies in the alleyway, who were still staring at the 3 ponies. You got a problem? It's impolite to stare, you know. The 2 fillies flinched and backed away slightly, but then Twilight suggested they apologize and introduce themselves. Sorry, we were just kind of startled, she said, bowing politely. My name is Twilight Sparkle. It's nice to meet you. Twilight nudged Trixie to make her bow too. She said, Twixie Moon. Doctor let out a gasp and then double-checked the date on the newspaper. Twilight. Trixie? The same Twilight and Trixie who saved Equestria from... But wait, they shouldn't be fillies right now, and they shouldn't meet until they're fully grown mares. Oh dear, this is troubling, most troubling. What?
Oh dear, confusion. We better get this thing straightened up. We better explain that Twilight and Trixie are, unfortunately, shrunk.
Excuse me? Twilight asked, confused at Doctor's rambling. Oh, if you're wondering why we're like this, it's because Twilight messed up! Trixie interrupted, grinning wickedly at Twilight. She was supposed to fix Twixie, and now we're both like this!
Oh dear.
Twilight frowned at Trixie and then glared at her. Well, maybe if some pony hadn't messed up such a simple spell in the first place, we wouldn't be in this mess. Trixie returned Twilight's glare with equal ferocity. That was because Twixie's book lied to her. You're just stupid. Oh.
Sorry, but for some odd reason I had the impression of, you're just stupid! Like, heavy.
Yeah. Twilight gasped in shock and then increased her glare's intensity. I'm stupid? If I'm stupid, then you must be a moron!
Ooh!
What did you call Twixie? You heard me. A moron! You're just jealous that Twixie is superior to you in every way! Oh, God damn it!
Oh my god, we're having a Yo Mama concert!
Superior at being stupid, yes? Ah! Twixie, stop!
I'm sorry. Oh man,
Lord.
so adorable and too fucking funny.
Well,
Okay. Alright.
that was a thing.
Alright. Hopefully Surprise has got a little hand in this.
Surprise interrupted the two fillies as she suddenly appeared in between them. I don't know what's happened between you two, but you better think carefully before you finish that sentence, Surprise said, looking down on a confused Trixie. Because once those words leave your mouth, there's no taking them back. Apparently, Surprise is the genuine combination of Twilight and whoever else.
Pinky.
Yes.
Shit, not only that, Surprise seems a little more philosophical.
Trixie turned from Surprise to Twilight and then towards the ground. Surprise sighed and lowered a hoof onto each filly's head, patting them gently. We all mess up sometimes, and we all feel like we need some time away from our friends to cool down when things get a little stressful. But in the end, it's our friends who are always there for us when we feel down. And once you say something hurtful, it's not easy to mend that friend's broken heart. The two fillies turned to face each other, guilty looks on their faces. Don't take your friends for granted, because you never know when you might never see them again. And when that time comes, you want to make sure there are no regrets and you can send it off with a smile, right?
Huh. This is very philosophical indeed.
Tears were starting to roll down the faces of the two fillies, as well as down Surprise's face. Firefly walked up to Surprise and wrapped a ring around her, enveloping her into a warm hug. He's right, girls. Friendship doesn't last forever. Make the most of it while you still can. Twilight and Trixie jumped towards each other, pulling each other into a tight hug, and... Oh!
Oh, Lord.
Oh! Philly hug! That's fucking... Oh.
And not only that, it's a crying Philly hug. Crying at each other's shoulders.
Not fucking helping. Ouch. Oh. Firefly and Surprise decided to give the two fillies some space to reconcile their differences and move towards Doctor's machine. Indeed, you never know when a day with your friend might be your last. It could be something as simple as walking through a park together, or just a casual day where nothing special happens, and then they're gone. Firefly looked at Doctor with a sympathetic look. You sound like it's happened a lot to you.
Frequently. Do you guys ever see Doctor Who?
Not me.
Neither have I, but I keep hearing a whole lot of sadness from that show.
Really, now. Well, let's see what happened next. Indeed. 900 years and it never gets any easier. Oh, this is rather concerning. It's a good thing we haven't ventured too far. What's up? Firefly asked, leaning over to read whatever had Doctor so flustered. She saw a picture of a brown earth pony stallion with an identical cutie mark to Doctor's. Who's he? Your son?
Ooh.
Doctor shook his head and then placed the newspaper back where he'd found it. That was me, or rather, a future version of me. Reincarnation.
Well, the regeneration also applies to the Doctor.
Future? But he's so young. Regeneration. Oh my, that's most disheartening. In any case, we can't stay here. There's too much risk that we'll run into him. And that's bad? Surprise asked. I think 2 doctors would be fun. We could totally have a party and there'd be 2 guests of honor.
And back to Pinkie Pie. God.
No! Doctor shouted, startling Firefly in surprise. Absolutely not! Under no circumstances must 2 forms of the same pony ever be allowed to meet. Now because it... What was it? Panda Box?
No, I believe the word is paradox.
Paradox, my dear Firefly.
I was right.
Doctor corrected, opening up the blue box and signaling for the other 2 to get in. And yes, that's why we must leave immediately. Firefly walked in without too much fuss. Although she was curious how much the world had changed over the course of thousands of years, she was more interested in finding her way home and reuniting with her friends. Surprise walked in a bit more reluctantly, and with a frown on her face. She paused to take one last look at the 2 fillies, who were still holding each other, but were now also throwing apologies at each other. Cherish your friendships! That's what makes life... They're what make life worth living!
And somebody's going, date a doctor?
And once the 3 ponies had entered the strange blue box, it began to fade out slowly until eventually it disappeared entirely. Twilight and Trixie didn't pay much attention to it, instead pulling apart from each other and wiping their tears away as they finally started to calm down. Trixie's sorry, Twilight. She knows it wasn't your fault. You were just trying to help. Oh, God!
Do I have to fucking... God.
God. No, I'm susceptible to this kind of shit now.
You should be stronger. You should have been practicing, man.
My heart already exploded once before this, and they already had to replace. This is the only one I have left, dude.
Damn it! You should have at least tried to work your way up to building up your immunity, man.
I'm trying, but thanks to I Am Shadow, it's not working. I can do this. I'm sorry too, Trixie. Twilight sniffed and wiped away the last of the tears from her face. You're not stupid, and I should have been more careful. If I had taken some more time to consider the spell I'd cast, I would have seen that it wouldn't work. So wait, if you knew it wouldn't work, then why did you think you would be able to change Trixie
Let's just say it's just hindsight. It's just a little hindsight.
Trixie turned her head towards the ground, not sure what to say at this point. Twilight decided to say something, since she was sure that Trixie was at a complete loss for words right now. She extended a hoof in a gentle voice. Friends? Whoa. Trixie turned her head back towards Twilight, sniffed a few more times, and extended her own hoof. Friends.
We've reached an agreement.
Thankfully, we're past that impasse.
We're just about done, too, from the place marker.
Thank God. At least there isn't too much diabetes this time around, hopefully.
Come on, let's keep going.
Rainbow Dash soared to the skies of Ponyville, looking for the 2 filly forms of Twilight and Trixie. She and the rest of her friends had finished gathering the ingredients for the remedy that would cure the 2, and had asked Zecora to prepare it. Every pony was waiting for them at the spa, but when Rainbow checked the park, she found that they weren't there. According to many eyewitnesses, the 2 fillies had been sighted all over Ponyville, and there was any pony's guess where they were now. Oh, great. Man, why couldn't they just stay still? And why do I have to find them? Rainbow Dash complained as she looked down the streets as she passed over them. Yeah. Finally, she spotted the 2 fillies that she was looking for. A purple unicorn filly and a blue unicorn filly were sitting on a bench in front of the ice cream stand in the marketplace, sharing an ice cream cone together. Oh, jeez.
Oh, dear. Easy does it.
Aha! Found him! She shouted to herself as she prepared to descend. She landed behind the 2 obvious fillies and decided to sneak up on them and make them jump.
Don't!
She could hear their conversation. So between Applejack and Rainbow Dash, who's the better athlete? Trixie asked, taking a lick of the ice cream. Rainbow stopped when she realized they were talking about her, and listened in on their conversation. Twilight giggled and also took a lick of the opposite side. There was actually a contest the two of them set up to find out. Turns out they're both as good as each other. Oh? Trixie would have put her money on the rainbow one. Of course, Trixie would be either of them with a who's tied behind her back.
You're little. Shouldn't you not be mouthing off about your abilities right about now?
About Rainbow Dash?
Well, Trixie, I mean.
Yeah. No, but... Really? You don't seem to be the athletic type. No, but Twixie's magic can keep them at bay while Trixie casually makes her way to the end. Isn't that against the whole point? Maybe, but it's not against the rules. Oh, damn it! Get through this! Yeah!
You're almost done, man. You got a bit of ways to go.
I can do this. Twilight put a hoof to her chin to remember the rules of athletic events. True, she said, shrugging. She noticed that the ice cream was dripping down the cone and quickly licked up the leaking trail. But then in that case, you come in second. Then who would be first? Me, naturally, Twilight said, grinning at Trixie. Rainbow Dash extended her wings and got ready to separate the two from the fight that was sure to break out at any second now. She looked over at Trixie, who was frowning disapprovingly, and waited. However, what happened next surprised her. Trixie laughed. Not a mocking laugh, but a sincere, happy laugh. Maybe now you can be Twixie, but it won't be long before Twixie catches up to you, so you better watch out, Wyvil. Why am I getting a flashback to Trixie's new big red life? Remember when Rainbow Dash and Trixie had that show-off and
Yeah.
Trixie got owned? Yeah. And on that day, Rarity will take up mud wrestling. Oh.
Good Lord.
Twilight laughed along with Trixie, and Rainbow also found it hard to suppress the giggling that was building up within her. Twilight noticed the ice cream about to fall off and took a big bite of it. Moments after swallowing it, she felt her head splitting open. Ow!
Brain freeze!
Brain freeze! The intense pain caused Twilight to lose her magical focus on the ice cream, and it dropped to the floor. Ah! Twixie's ice cream! Almost there. I can do this. My head! Twilight cried out in pain. Behind them, Rainbow could no longer hold in her laughter, which alerted the two to her presence. Sorry, did I interrupt your date? Really, Rainbow Dash? You're gonna frickin' do that? Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Alright. A little later.
Hang on. I'm trying to figure... Oh, I fucked it up. Damn it!
About time.
No, I just totally messed up my sounds. Give me a second here. I just messed up my sound.
I can still hear you, by the way.
No, my headphones are acting up again. This is the old thing. I don't know why. Ugh. Give me a second. I gotta hang up and fix this. Give me a sec. About time, Applejack said as Rainbow Dash approached her in the spa's lobby. Anyway, I also request you cut out that technical difficulty as well.
I was playing... It wasn't really stale much or anything. I just played a cover of a Super Mario Brothers 3 level music.
Just do whatever you can to cut out all the missing.
Fine.
Alright. Applejack said as Rainbow Dash approached her in the spa's lobby with Twilight on her left and Trixie on her right. Where in Equestria have you been? Rainbow grinned mischievously as Trixie, and then turned to Applejack. These two went on a date around town, so I had to track them down. We were not on a date! Trixie shouted, her face bright red. That's right! I was just showing her around! Twilight followed up, her face an equal shade of red to Trixie's. And sharing ice cream, Rainbow said, giggling as she walked further into the spa. Wait, what? Applejack asked, raising an eyebrow at the two fillies. Really, Twa? You like Trixie?
Sorry, but if we're gonna go with that canon of one particular vlog, Sunset and Trixie were dating.
Oh, you had to bring that shit
Ah!
up. You fucking asshole, my head canon's coming true.
But make sure you keep that separate from, all the other shit, because I think it'd be nice.
All the other shit, huh?
Elements of insanity, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
Anyways. Why don't
you
we
mean
see...
this shit, or did you mean this shit, or is it still not playing?
I can hear it now, and,
It's still not playing, is it?
I heard it. Uh-oh. Connection problems. Hold on.
If it's not my headphones, it's my goddamn internet.
And don't worry.
Like, seriously, you don't hear this?
I heard that.
Oh, now it's working?
When I said it was, and now I'm hearing an echo of myself.
That's... Oh, now you hear my headphones, huh?
Yes?
Yeah.
I told you yes like a million times now!
I don't know why the fuck it wasn't playing before when you couldn't hear it.
I don't know. But, can we, cut the echo out?
I don't know. This is what I was meaning to play at the beginning of the stream, because I was basically saving all the time of what my reaction to this thing was. If it would... I'll save the trouble of how my heart was palpitating. This.
Oh, my heart! Oh, great. Anyways, let's continue on. Hopefully, the rest will be smooth sailing.
Hopefully. Trixie took offense to Applejack's words, but to her surprise, it was Twilight who spoke up first. What's wrong with Trixie? Sure, she can be a bit obnoxious at times, but when you get past that, she's pretty cool and kind.
Keep
Applejack looked at Trixie with a skeptical look on her face. Again, mispronouncing skeptical. Because he did that before in this fic at the very start.
This guy needs some proofreading.
Mm-hmm. Behind her, Applejack could hear Rainbow Dash say, "Careful, that's her mare friend you're dissing." "She's not my mare friend! I don't like her in that way. We're just friends."
Could have fooled me.
Trixie wasn't sure if she should be thankful that Twilight was sticking up for her, or be insulted that Twilight took such offense to the idea of Trixie being her mare friend. Headcanon, don't you fail me now.
Keep going.
So she just followed Rainbow Dash into the spa, staring straight ahead with a look of annoyance on her face. Twilight and Applejack soon followed, and they eventually arrived in the bathing room, where Sakura was preparing a special bath to cure the two fillies.
Are there people around?
There's Rarity. Now the letter says that you must soak in this bath for no less than 30 minutes and no more than 1 hour. Oh, Lord. The effect won't be instantaneous. It will take effect after a few hours. If you enter the bath now, it should happen overnight. Great! Come on, Trixie! Twilight shouted enthusiastically, running up to the bathtub.
Hold
she
on.
placed the hoof in slowly and continued by putting the rest of her body.
Ah, son of a bitch! Son of a bitch.
There, am I? Where did I cut off?
You managed to complete the sentence before the call cut out.
Where?
She placed the hoof in slowly and then continued by putting the rest of her body in.
She let out a pleasant sigh as the warm bath water relaxed her entire body. Come on, the water's great, she said to Trixie, who still hadn't moved from her spot. Trixie stared at the bath water for a few moments, and when she refused to move closer, the rest of the group grew concerned and asked her what was wrong.
What's going on?
Trixie doesn't think she wants to turn back after all. What?
Uh-oh. I think they're fucking with you now.
You saw Trix Piggy Pie, hold me!
Why?
What are you saying? Rarity asked, grabbing Trixie's shoulders and shaking her small body. Surely you don't mean that. The only other alternative is to grow back into your old self. What Miss Rarity says is most true, Sakura said, walking up to Trixie, placing a hoof under her chin. Perhaps you should tell us what is troubling you. Trixie's eyes widened with fear, and tears started to form at the corners of her eyes despite her best... Resist it! Resist it! Or it's almost done.
Come on.
Twixie doesn't want to go back to her old life.
Hmm?
Why not? Rainbow Dash asked. Were you poor? Were you not getting enough ponies to watch your shows? She didn't exactly seem to be in any trouble earlier today, Applejack pointed out. She seemed to be rather happy, and she had enough money for that spell that made her like this. Twixie doesn't want to be alone anymore, she said. Oh dear.
She's all shaken now.
The old Twixie has been alone for so long, she forgot how to rely on others. She wanted to reach out to others, but she was afraid, and her mind had settled on keeping others at a distance. Her heart was filled with jealousy of those who had friends and anger that she couldn't bring herself to befriend others. I don't want to go back to that, she shouted, kneeling down and holding her nose. Every night was so painful. I had nightmares of dying on my own, like no pony ever knowing where I was. And dreams that I finally made friends and quiet the next morning because it was a dream. Every day was dark. I don't want to be alone anymore.
The truth. You just turned a heartwarming moment into an ear-piercing moment. My God, I am almost bleeding. Any louder, I will hold you. Any more louder, I would hold you responsible for me being kicked out of public housing.
Yep, my heart just exploded again.
And my ears did too. Jesus.
Sorry, I didn't know it was that loud. Sorry.
Damn.
Sorry, really sorry. I didn't know it was that loud.
Thank God I have headphones.
Yeah, my heart just exploded again. Oh.
So basically, the truth comes out. Trixie is jealous, and she doesn't want to be alone anymore. You think she's...
stopped crying, nor did she lift her head to look at Twilight. What?
I think you skipped a whole paragraph.
Oh, sorry. The other ponies, Spike and Zakor, all exchanged looks of worry and sympathy, but none of them could find the right words to comfort the crying filly. Finally, a voice from the back of the room broke the long silence that was otherwise only filled by Trixie's sobbing. It was Twilight. So you're gonna give up? You're just gonna run away because you're scared of going back?
Hold on.
There it goes again.
Yeah, you kind of cut it out. Alright. You just said... You were kind of sounding robotic. Hold on. Do I have anything else that's on at the moment? I don't... Man, his internet must be going out at a pretty shitty time.
My internet, believe me, it's really been fucking me with me lately, and it's starting to annoy me. Anyways.
You pretty much stopped at, you're just going to run away because you're scared of going back?
Come on, Trixie, that doesn't sound like you. Trixie's ear twitched, and she moved her hooves slightly to look at Twilight. You're just running away from your problems. That will make them go away. But this way I can start again. Fix all the mistakes I made in my life.
Well, that's a good idea, but I got a bad feeling that it might not work.
It don't work that way, hon, Applejack said. Trixie turned her attention to the orange farmer. Even if you change your body now, your past ain't gonna change. You're gonna have to live with it forever, and I can assure you, even if you stay as you are right now, one day your past will catch up to you, and you'll surely regret it. Fluttershy walked up to the still shaking Trixie, and placed a wing around her gently. She felt Trixie start to calm down, although she was still mumbling uncertainly. Rainbow Dash approached the blue filly with a stern look on her face. So this is the great and powerful Trixie? I knew you were only exaggerating before, but I still thought your magic was pretty cool, and even I could tell it was much better than the average unicorn. Some part of me wanted to give you another chance. Somehow you reminded me of myself. You had dreams of being big, and you wanted every pony to know your name, so you showed off your talents everywhere, and you boasted your big feats because you honestly believed that you could make them reality. But I guess I was wrong.
Oh, Rainbow Dash. I've never seen this side of you before.
She stomped a hoof to emphasize her last point, startling Trixie. Fluttershy held her tighter in her wing. You're nothing like me. I would never give up just because I was afraid. Even if it seemed hopeless, I would do my best, and if my best wasn't enough, at least I can say I went down flying. Rainbow, aren't you being a little hard on the poor dear? Rarity asked.
Yeah, this is getting a little harsh.
Rainbow Dash shook her head and continued her lecture. So what if you fail once? Just try again. Keep trying no matter what. You're afraid to get close to other ponies? Then try a different angle. Try taking a break from your showmare business and try some time to yourself. Find some ponies who share a common interest and make them your friends. But just giving up and pushing the problem to one side, that's totally not cool.
My.
Well, she's got a point there.
Indeed. Although people
What?
Although people are going, shut up, RD. No.
Yeah. Wait, I don't get it, Pinkie Pie shouted, gaining the attention of every pony in the room. Why can't we just be your friends? I mean, is friendship even so complicated in the first place? Every pony remained silent as Pinkie hopped merrily over towards Trixie. I don't think the problem is that you were afraid of making friends. It's that you were afraid you wouldn't be worthy of being some pony's friend, right?
What?
What do you mean? Trixie asked, slowly removing her head from her hooves. Well, you've been alone for so long, right? You probably think you were alone because you did something wrong. Eventually, though, that thought engraved itself into your mind, and you were certain that you would only hurt any pony who you befriended. She lifted Trixie off the ground and spun around so that Trixie was facing Twilight. As proof, you became friends with Twilight thanks to being a filly again. If the problem was that you were too shy or afraid to approach some pony, that shouldn't have changed even as you became a filly. In fact, it should have gotten worse, if anything. But if the problem is that you blame yourself for being alone, then it makes sense since you hadn't reached that conclusion as a filly.
Shit, Pinkie Pie's being fucking philosophical? What the hell? I should be mind-fucked by Pinkie Pie, not freaking... Shit, this is deep.
The rest of the group stared at Pinkie in astonishment. Finally, Rarity was able to break the silence and ask what was undoubtedly on every pony's minds. Pinkie Pie, how in Equestria did you ever think of all this? Your answer, Pinkie? How do you think I'm able to make friends with every pony I meet? I know how the pony mind works. Did I just read that correctly?
Can you reread that just to be sure?
How do you think... hang on. How do you think I'm able to make friends with every pony I meet? I know how the pony mind works.
I think I'm being mind-fucked yet again.
And it's not even a mindfuck fic.
Pinkie Pie knowing pony psychology?
Yeah. Go figure on that, I guess.
I shouldn't be this attracted or have any sorts of feelings towards Pinkie Pie.
Well, it's happening. Twilight and Trixie were perhaps the only two not concerned with Pinkie's surprising knowledge on pony psychology right now, and were instead staring into each other's eyes, Trixie with a worried look on her face and Twilight with a pleading look. Trixie, if you need help, I'd be happy to share everything I've learned about friendship with you. We're friends after all, right? Trixie was about to raise her hoof, but was still uncertain. But that's only right now. What if after I turn back, I'll still be your friend? I don't care you're the great and powerful Trixie, or just Trixie the innocent little filly. All that matters is that you're Trixie Lullamoon, some pony who I want to be friends with. Trixie slowly raised her, and just as she began to extend it forward, Twilight said, "Cherish your friendships! They're what make life worth living!"
We're reciting that surprise pony!
Yes. Trixie's eyes widened and her hoof suddenly shot forward with much more speed than she had intended it to. Pinkie loosened her grip on Trixie, and the blue filly flew forward as Twilight pulled her into the bathtub, causing water to fly into the air as she splashed down into it. Once Trixie wiped her eyes clean and was able to see again, she saw Twilight sitting in front of her smiling at Trixie, and laughing at her wet mane as water dripped down from it. "Sorry, Trixie, I didn't think Pinkie would let go all of a sudden," she said, obviously lying. Trixie stared for a few seconds with a dumbfounded look on her face, and then grinned at the purple filly. Oh, you are so gonna regret that, she said as she began splashing water to Twilight's face, who responded by yelping and fleeing at the other side of the bathtub. Take that! Counterattack! Twilight shouted as she spun around in the tub and began splashing water back at Trixie. Stop! Sakura shouted, startling every pony in the room and causing the two to stop their little water fight. The remedy took a long time to prepare. I would appreciate if you treat it with care. Well,
Well, that pretty much ended that fight.
yeah. Once they were finished bathing in the remedy prepared by Sakura, the two fillies decided to return to the library and settle down, their bodies tired from all the running around they had done earlier that day. Fluttershy asked if they would like to stay. Fluttershy asked if they would like her to stay with them, but they insisted that they would be all right on their own. Despite this, their friends still imposed on Twilight that night, all curious to see if the remedy would truly work. Since there wasn't enough room in their bedroom for every pony, her friends agreed to sleep downstairs, and Twilight offered them some spare blankets and pillows for them. Twilight allowed Trixie to sleep upstairs with her, still concerned about Trixie after what happened in the spa. Twilight offered Trixie the guest bed, while Spike took his own bed in between the guest bed and Twilight's bed. Trixie looked over at the guest bed, and then back to Twilight, who was climbing into her own bed. She felt her heartbeat increasing and her face flushing up and gathered up the courage to ask, "Can Trixie stay with you tonight?"
Oh?
Twilight and Spike turned to Trixie in surprise, and she immediately apologized, saying that she'll take the guest bed. I don't mind, Twilight said. But why? Well, Trixie doesn't want to wake up alone. But if it'll cause a problem, Trixie will sleep in the other bed. No, it's no problem at all, Twilight said, lifting the covers to invite Trixie into her bed. I can understand the feeling. When I finally made friends here in Ponyville, I was so sad when I thought I had to leave them, and I was willing to give up my life in Canterlot just so I could be with them every day. Trixie turned towards Twilight and hesitated for a moment, before finally approaching Twilight's bed and climbing in, lying down on one side of it. She remained silent as Twilight turned the lights off and shut her eyes tight, resisting her body's desire to hold Twilight close.
Ooh, shipping. Oh, we're just fucking with your headcanon tonight, are we?
God damn it, we're nearly at the end of this. I can do this.
Prepare those labels.
Good night, Spike, Trixie, Twilight said as she rested her head under her pillow. Night, Spike replied. Trixie opened her eyes and watched the purple filly resting peacefully next to her. Her uneasiness started to fade away, and a smile formed on her face as she closed her eyes once again, allowing herself to drift off into sleep. Night, Twilight. Aww.
Did it work?
The following morning, Trixie was woken by something against her face. It felt like the wind, only it was warm and making a strange noise. She opened her eyes slowly to find out it was, and saw a purple unicorn mare sleeping right in front of her, her face mere inches away from Trixie's and breathing into the show mare's face. Trixie's eyes widened as she tried to make sense of the situation, but as the purple unicorn's eyes started to open, Trixie reflexively pushed her away. A loud bang after that caused Trixie to rush to the other end of the bed that she was sleeping in, and peer over the side. She saw Twilight Sparkle lying on the floor, rubbing a hoop against her left flank and groaning in pain. Oops?
I think it worked. I think, but...
Trixie has apologized already multiple times! Stop being foolish already, it was just a simple mistake! Trixie shouted, moving around Twilight to try and look at her in the eyes, but for the 47th time, Twilight simply turned around to avoid Trixie's gaze. I let you sleep in my bed so that you wouldn't feel lonely, not so that you could try to kill me! Twilight shouted, still refusing to turn around. Oh, come on! You're overreacting! Says the one who wasn't pushed out of bed so violently this morning. It was your fault for sleeping so close to Trixie. What was Trixie supposed to do? Well, I could certainly think of better solutions than pushing your best friend out of bed and possibly breaking her leg. It wasn't even that big of a fall.
I guess they're all grown up now, but they're still behaving like kids.
So it seems. The rest of the group simply watched in both amusement and amazement at how a simple accident had somehow led to a huge argument between the two. Applejack leaned over to whisper in Rainbow Dash's ear. Those two are friends now, right? Rainbow Dash shrugged and lifted up one of the pancakes she was currently eating into her mouth. Well, Trixie did make us all the sweet breakfast, so she's alright in my books. Twilight did just refer to her and Trixie as best friends, so... Fluttershy said, but retreated when attention was drawn to her. Rarity simply sighed and levitated the piece of pancake in her mouth. It's one of those friendships, you know, where both friends are so stubborn that they bicker at every little thing. To outsiders they seem like enemies, but to them they have fun competing in this way, and are determined to outdo each other. That's what I think, at least. That's it! Trixie's leaving! Trixie shouted, stomping towards the front door, making sure to grab her hat and cloak before opening. Good day! Aw, you're leaving already? A saddened Pinkie Pie asked. Trixie has a busy schedule, and she's already had to cancel some shows because of this incident. Pinkie looked down at the floor with a frown, but understood that Trixie, like every pony, had to work. Alright, I guess it can't be helped then. Trixie opened the door and started to make her way outside, when the librarian's voice stopped her. You're gonna come back, right?
What's the answer?
She held her head up high, Trixie and responded, if Trixie feels like it. With that, Trixie left the library, closing the door behind her. Twilight simply smiled at the closed door and levitated some of the breakfast to her mouth. I'll be waiting then, Trixie. The end! Ugh!
You finally did it.
Oh, God, I finally made it. I finally finished Trixie's little problem. Thank fucking Lord.
Well, looks like you fulfilled your resolution of finishing it. Finally.
No. And already incoherent chipmunks going me on Skype. Oh my God, you survived. Yes. Yes, I did it. I finished this diabetes-inducing piece of shit. Ugh.